Y'all, this is part two of the TOLDOT because I kind of got knocked off again. Genesis 25:19 through 28, and I'm pretty much at summarizing 26. I'm not real sure because I kind of forgot where I was. But anyway, uh, I guess they because of the famine and stuff, Isaac and Rebecca also ended up basically where it seems like Abraham was. Which is basically at the what seems to me to be let's see, Gregor. I think it's just the edges of the Philistine people. But anyway, we're talking about that, and we've passed all this where he where father took a situation where Isaac had ended up doing the same thing Abraham had done, and Isaac said, my wife Rebecca is his sister, but the king Amalek ended up seeing that it was Isaac's wife, and he got on to Isaac, but yet he also put an order of protection around Rebecca that nobody could harm her. But anyway, it came to where it come time to dig the wells, right? And Isaac was the Midrash talks about how Isaac was basically a good man who honored his dad. And what had happened is on this land long ago, whenever Abraham had to do it and done the same thing with Sarah, his wife, about with the king. Well, what had happened is Abraham had built, had made some wells. I think it was 3 wells, and then he gave them his names of the well. But then the pharaohs, after Abraham had passed on, the pharaohs come and covered the wells up and give them different names. But when Isaac had to move into this land, they needed water. So what Isaac did is he dug the wells back up, which, now this is a summary of things we're going to do. And again, what happened is he named the wells again after the same names that his dad Abraham had done. This also preserved his name, had a show of respect, and preserved his name, and he carried on that. But there was a time when actually, the children did do that. They did show respect for their parents, and it was basically expected. It was really expected. But see, what had happened is, I think it was Malachi, the prophet Malachi. Anyway, what happened is he comes forth and he'll come and he'll tell about what's going to happen. Because again, this brings us to Malachi, and because it got to a point, and even still is a lot today, that they come to the time where they'll betray their own families just to get some kind of prosperity. Even for friends. I mean, I've read about it many times, heard about it many times, where even to get prosperity, kids has killed their own parents. And respect, basically, disrespecting your parents is taught and even almost expected, and that's just not right. But anyway, there comes a time whenever we're coming to Malachi, and the prophet Malachi had foretold. And he said, behold, the day will come when I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes. And he will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children, and the hearts of the children to the fathers, lest I come and strike the land with a decree of utter destruction. And that would be Malachi, the third chapter, verses 23 to 24, and then the 4th chapter, verses 5, 6. You can read something about it also. And this because, father can't stand that. Father cannot stand for a child to disrespect their parents like that. He just can't stand it, because he said, either this is going to change you, basically, and it's more to it than that, but this is just the basic of it. He says something's going to change, or I'm going to send a degree of destruction, utter destruction to you. Again, go to Malachi, the 3rd chapter, and the 4th chapter, and read about all that, and then you get a bigger picture of what's going on. And, basically it's kind of foreshadowing, and I'm not sure, maybe, let's see, I'd have to look it up, but maybe chapter 6, but anyway, that was a foreshadowing, and of what was going to happen, because basically we're given a glimpse of the time when, the hearts of children, well, it kind of talks about, excuse me, it kind of talks about, the children and the parents is basically turned against us, that they're, well, it's just not good, and it's still happening, and then it goes into, these are the generations of Hebrew, told of Isaac, Abraham, the son of Isaac's, told of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham fathered Isaac. This is the Genesis 25:19, of course. And then he told of the legacy of Isaac, that he was basically identical to his father Abraham, physically and spiritually, actually, which you can also read that where the sages is talking about it, traditionally, and maybe midrash, but anyway, there's talking about it that Abraham and his son Isaac was basically like Abraham's, looked just like Abraham, and it talked about that there. So even in characteristics, but only this Isaac was basically, when you start reading it up, basically a mild seed. But anyway, he said him, and they looked, and he received the character of his father Abraham that Isaac did. And then he had an older son, Ishmael. Everybody knows about Ishmael. When Ishmael, he did not I don't know where I was. Okay, anyway, a covenant was made through Isaac and not Ishmael. And it would go on the generations. Isaac, Abraham's seed through Isaac would be the offspring that's named in basically Genesis, the 21st chapter. And basically it talks about, his heart was turned toward his father, and his father's heart was turned toward him. Although basically Isaac was a foreshadowing of the prophetic events, which is going to be revealed in Malachi, the prophet Malachi, on how, then that brings about, then it comes all the way into, we'll learn about John the Baptist, It talks about basically, when you look at it, it brings us all into John the Mercer, how Father Yah's going to go before him. And, we go all the way into the seed of how Elijah. Okay, basically, I'm trying to sum it up because I just got just about another minute left. Anyway, you know how it all the way to the seed, and then how John is the it talks all this foreshadowing. Everybody says, are you Elijah? No, he's not Elijah. But anyway, it goes all the way down into, ends up coming in the foreshadowing again, it brings us back to Yahusha, and salvation, and about repentance. So, anyway, I'm sorry I'm a little bit fickle on it right now, y'all. We just come out there and we tell the good news, right? God renews the hearts of our children, the hearts of his children, the hearts of our children. And I'm thinking that, I'm praying that this just, I don't know, I hope I understand this right. It's going to produce the fruit of righteousness. Look at the timeline we're at today. To me, a lot of people say they're getting closer. To me, I'm just like, I don't know about that. But, I do see some children that's, kind of getting closer to the parents. But it seems like they got wrong ideas of what things are sometimes. But anyway, it's going to turn around. There's going to be a time when Father turns the hearts of the children back to the parents. And and parents back to the children, and all that's going to end. So, the generations of Isaac. So, anyway, start looking it up. Again, we need to look up the birthright. The birthright is going to explain a whole lot more about how this is working and then how it's come into what it is today. Esau is still against Jacob. That's what all this is about now, although people say it isn't, but it is. It's still Esau and Jacob, Ishmael and Isaac kind of thing. Love y'all. Love you too. You're worth it. Bye-bye.